So I've got a fun little story for you before we get started here with this episode. This episode was supposed to be Toru Yano versus Minoru Suzuki at Power Struggle 2017. But due to planning going a little bit awry when I was talking to my guest, it didn't really end that way. And we kind of watched 2, maybe 3 different matches. And so the conversation kind of just devolved into us talking about our careers and how people have helped us specifically in certain areas to help us get to that next level. So this was supposed to be kind of like we're going to sit down and do like tape study type thing, because I knew that Buck Gator had not watched matches yet from New Japan. So I wanted to show him a little bit something different to help him. I should also mention that the camera didn't work again, and I know that I've been doing really good so far of getting you those videos for the last episodes, but this one did not go as planned. So I do apologize. This one's not going to have video. I'm sorry. I still think we had a fantastic conversation. I do still think that it is something that is very enjoyable, and I hope that you guys truly enjoy this conversation with Buck Gator. So this is going to be interesting because I have notes upon notes and I don't have a table in front of me to put it at. So I'm going to be reaching for my phone quite a bit to just kind of go through stuff. But before we get started with that, Buck Gator, welcome to the Miss Retrospective, dude.
Yes, thank you for having me. I've been so excited to do this.
Dude, I'm excited to have you here because I know we talked a tiny bit off camera and in the weeks leading up to this and everything. But today's episode is going to take a tiny bit of a detour on the heart of the show, because so far I've had people come on the show and tell me about their favorite match or one of their favorite matches, and then I watched it for the first time. But this is actually the first time that both of us have seen the match for the very first time. And the kind of like what I wanted to do with this episode, I realized after the fact when I asked you to watch this match specifically, is that you yourself are a comedy wrestler, but not a comedy wrestler in the sense where you just want to do funny spots all the time. You just happen to be a funny guy who's serious as well. So before we get into all of that stuff really quick, why don't you let the people know a little bit about you, what your history with professional wrestling is. That way, you know, we can kind of get an idea of where you're coming from with your perspective.
Yes. Okay. So I am Buck Gator. If you know me already, you know I sound a little bit different right now because I play the character of basically it's the Florida Man meme from like, when was it popular? Like 2018.
It's always been popular.
But it's Florida Man Gator Wrestler. But yeah, pretty much just full on. It really wasn't even something, funnily enough, that I was ever intending to do in wrestling. In fact, you were there the night that this character was born, because it was just a promo class. And I think it was like my 3rd week at wrestling school and I didn't have a character yet. And Chris Russo was there, and it was just like, hey, you got to go up there. You're not going to know what we're going to talk to you about. We're going to ask you a question, and you just got to answer in character. And I'm like, well, okay, let me think what I can do, because I have nothing right now. So I went back to my days in the Wild West of Red Dead Redemption 2 Online. So me and my friends would, quote-unquote, role play on there all the time. It's just not serious role play, but just be in character. I'm like, okay, well, I'm confident in this character. I bet I can do something with that. So I went up there, I did that character, and then just ever since then, it was just like popped off.
I think it's funny because I've heard the second part of that story, the Red Dead Redemption one. I never knew that the first part was that you did not prepare this at all. It just happened by accident.
Yeah, no, it was like, I think I waited kind of towards the end of that class to go because I was still like, I think I talked to maybe like 1 or 2 people in the group of like 15, 20 guys who we had at the time there. So it's like no one was expecting it. And I was just like, I wasn't expecting it to especially get to the point where it's at now. But it's just like, it came completely out of left field. Because like, I put on the accent, I started doing all my things. I was like, you know, I messed up Chris Russo's name when I asked him what his name was. He's like, I was like, what's your name, boy? And he was like, Chris. And I'm like, well, Craig. And I followed that up with something next. I think I still have the video. I'm pretty sure I do.
I was gonna say, is that when we still recorded them?
Yes.
I probably still have the footage somewhere. Then I'm gonna look in the secret Raw promo class page now, because I'm curious if that exists somewhere. Because if so, I'm gonna save it and I'm gonna be like, I'm saving this for the memories alone. I mean, this is me just manifesting for people that I like and whatnot. But I think you have a bright future in this business and everything. And I've seen you pop some people of importance that are good. So I'm just like, I think having that video for just like a retrospective of the character one will be like insanely cool. Now knowing that that's the first time that it happened, because I knew the second part. I didn't know the first part. So that kind of just like blew my mind right out of the gate.
Yeah. Yeah, that was just hilarious because then it was like, it wasn't even a Gator wrestler at the time either. It was just, hey, this is a funny name that I just used for my Wild West guy. And then just everyone kept on being like, oh yeah, you wrestle Gators, all that. And I'm like, no, I don't. Wait, actually that makes sense. Gator wrestling. Why did I not put 2 and 2 together until now? But
fair enough.
It's worked out so far, and then it's now just become this whole entire thing.
That's actually incredible. Like I'm proud of that now because again I'm not saying it was my idea, but I was like just to have a small hand in everything like that. It's just really cool.
Yeah, I'm so glad that like because there's a period of time where we didn't have any like promo or character classes, and I feel like that's just so important because it's like if I didn't have that in place, it's like I don't even know if I'd still be doing this because then I wouldn't know like, hey, this is a character that could work.
Yeah. That, but again, like I said in the beginning, like it's a comedy act, but not necessarily a comedy wrestle, especially now with what you're doing. Challenging AJ France for the Glory Championship, and just a lot of what I've heard of the feedback from people backstage and stuff. You are very much a serious wrestler with like a goofy edge, which we've seen in a lot of people. Yeah. So when I started thinking a lot more about what I wanted to show you and like what I wanted to share with you in this podcast and everything was like, who is a goofy wrestler who I know can still go? And immediately the first person I thought of was Toru Yano from New Japan. Had you been exposed to Toru before?
I had not. This is my first time watching him. Okay. And as soon as he came up on the screen, I'm like, oh my god, that guy's face is so punchable.
Perfect.
That's like I'm gonna enjoy this.
Perfect. All right, so I'm glad that I'm the one exposing you to this because the funny thing is like the point of the whole podcast and everything is the fact that I've never seen wrestling before 2004 or pretty much outside of WWE. So that's when I started just being curious in general. Like, had you watched New Japan before this?
I had not. I've watched a couple of matches here and there, like a couple of the Omega Okada matches. But nothing, because I think accessibility was an issue for me for a long time just because I didn't know which avenues to go through. So like when you sent me the link to, I think it's NJPW World, I was like, I did not even know this was a thing. Part of that's on me. But also is like, oh, okay, so now it's just very easily accessible. And in fact, like, I think you sent me like the link to do it and ended up making my own account for it just for a month because I was like, I want to explore like the rest of all of this stuff as well. So I ended up, I watched the match that you sent me. I also accidentally ended up watching the 2013 match first because I think it was the 2012 match we wanted to talk about, right?
It was the 2017 one. I sent you the straight link to it. Did we watch opposite matches? Because if so, that's going to be even better because now we're going to be on 2 matches.
That might have been the only one because I watched 2012, 2013. I think it was the G1 Summit matches?
No, those were leading up to this one.
Oh no!
Oh no, that's perfectly fine because now we can just talk about New Japan, and I think that's going to be even more interesting because again, you're getting a different perspective of Toru Yano, and now I'm going to give you a different one as well, and we can kind of compare on that stuff, and that's also kind of again the idea for this specific episode because when I thought about it, I was like, it's really interesting to hear somebody talk about a match that they love, that they appreciate, the characters and everything, and so I was talking to Kevin actually, and I was telling him I think my episode with Buck it's going to be a conversation over tape study because after a while I was like I realized that I mean, again this is just me speaking out loud, right? I think that Toru Yano would give you a lot of good perspective of where you can take your own character and maybe evolve it into something different because Toru is, again, from what I know, a very funny character to New Japan, but everybody in New Japan is super serious to where it's a sport where the juxtaposition of Minoru Suzuki and Toru Yano is to completely different ends of the spectrum, and Toru Yano is like a sports entertainer in a sports world where somebody like, let's say, AJ Styles would be a sports guy in a sports entertainment world when he comes to WWE and everything. So it's 2 different ends of the spectrum, and I feel like where he would feel so comfortable in WWE, he's in a different pond. So it's like a saltwater and a freshwater pond, and saltwater fish in a freshwater pond and stuff like that, except he's not dying, unless he's being killed by Minoru Suzuki. So tell me about your match. What match did you end up watching then?
So the first one was the 2013, I want to say it was the Summit match. It was still him and Suzuki. This one was the one where they used the handcuffs a lot. I don't know if you saw this one, but it was basically, I think it actually built off of the 2012 match because when I watched the 2012 match back, I was like, oh, I could see a lot of stuff that was kind of referenced in the 2013 match. But I guess starting with the 2012 match, it was like, I'll go ahead and pull from some of my notes here. The one thing I noticed...
That explains the 2 papers.
Yeah. I got the 2 papers printed out. But yeah, with the 2012 match, the main thing like I took away immediately right out the bat, where I was like, okay, I see why Kirby sent me this guy. Because like he got in the ring and he just like he splashes water on Suzuki, and immediately Suzuki just like gets pissed off, right? He's getting mad and he starts the match just by like jumping him and punching him down and whatnot. But in 2013, the opposite thing happened. Is like he splashed him with the water, but Suzuki was just like unfazed by it. So I was like, oh, okay, so there's that kind of contrast between like you got the really serious wrestler and then like the more kind of not taking this seriously but also just super brash kind of overconfident wrestler. So that's like I liked that contrast that I saw right off the bat in the 2013 match. The biggest thing that stood out to me in the 2013 match was at one point Toru got the handcuffs. And of course, in classic fashion, the heel gets a weapon and then the face uses it against him. And this just such a small thing that got me, but Suzuki handcuffed him to the barricade and was going to get him counted out. But he just took the key out of his boot and undid it. And I'm like, I love that just because it's like he just premeditated that he might need the key, so he just kept it on him. And then just later on in the match, it was like, I think Suzuki like handcuffed both of his hands together and he's trying to fight with both of his hands. And eventually he like low blowed Suzuki with both of his hands in the handcuffs. So it was like, that was just, I love the usage of the weapons, and it's like, how can you work within those limitations? So I enjoyed the 2013 match a lot more. The 2012 one was still pretty funny. Like there was a spot where, again, similar thing happens, except it is with, I think, his wrist tape. Where Toru goes to try to take down Suzuki to the barricade. Opposite happens. Toru gets tied down, and it's just like he's struggling against the barricade, barely beats the 10 count. But again, the 2013 match stood out to me more just because I felt like they used more with the handcuffs, which I was like, that's funny because it's just outside of the box. And it's like because sometimes when I'm watching like wrestling, especially if it's like a longer show, it's like matches kind of start to fade into one another. It's like I feel like I've seen this match already like 2 or 3 times tonight. But even though like this is like a single match, it's like, oh, okay, this is something that I barely ever get to see, and it's so creative, and it's telling a story with something where I'm not the smartest person when it comes to following storytelling. I'm still trying to get that down when it comes to wrestling, like how to tell stories in the ring and then also how to follow them when you're watching matches and whatnot. But this one was just like easy, straightforward to follow, but it was still just super entertaining. Just like, how are they going to use the handcuffs to just do more ridiculous stuff? But I love the character, so I love the suggestion for Toru.
I think we're going to definitely go down a rabbit hole, and like with studying the older generations and everything, I think there's something that we can apply as a whole, which I've talked about this on the podcast before, the 7-year rule, where after 7 years, everything is fresh all over again. Because 7 years ago, there were not a lot of fans that there are now. Some people will remember it, especially now in the digital age. They're going to be like, oh, that happened like 10 years ago. This character already happened, et cetera, et cetera. But typically within 7 years, everything that's old is new again and everything. So I think you have a fantastic opportunity to not necessarily steal a lot of Toru Yano stuff, but maybe like repurpose it or be inspired by to maybe do something like that for yourself as well, because I think with the way that I see the Buck Gator character, because obviously like I'm just a fan on the outside looking in and whatnot, there's a lot of similarities that I see. Like Toru Yano literally peddles his DVDs everywhere he goes, and that's his whole gimmick.
Because I was like, what is he carrying out in his entrance?
No, dude, he's peddling his wares. That's what he does. So I was like, that's why I thought of you. I was like, you're always peddling your Dr. Gator stuff. So like the similarities were there. And again, when I think of Toru, I know that he's the goofy guy, and he's still taken seriously to some respect, because as a matter of fact, I think both of those matches that you watched, Toru won, correct?
Toru won the 2012 one, 2013 Suzuki won.
Okay, so there was an ongoing thing, and again, after some research I did, there was an ongoing thing between Toru and Suzuki, where Toru always beats Suzuki in the G1 climax, in the tournament and everything. So every single as far as I know, every single G1 match that Toru has against Suzuki, Toru always wins, which I think is hilarious because again, it's a grueling tournament, which spans like the entire round robin section of the entire. I think it's like a month long of matches, and Suzuki never beats him there ever. That's like that's his white whale. He just can't get it. But anytime it's outside, Suzuki wins. At least again, from what I understand. Yeah. How did he win the 2012 match? Since that's the one he won.
It was I believe it was a roll up. I think Suzuki kept on trying to go for a power bomb. He kept on towards the end is like a sleeper into a power bomb, and it's from the power bomb. I think he got into a roll up, so it's like a roll up pin, or some variation of it. That's the 2012 one. 2013. What did I write down for the finish? I should know because I just watched this like 2 hours ago. I got the mud mirror of a goldfish. I did not write down what the finish was on the 2013 match, but I know Suzuki won, and I think it's clean.
Was it a pile driver by any chance?
It was the pile.
Okay, because that's what he does in the 2017.
Yeah. It's like the pile driver, and he held it for like 10 seconds before dropping him.
That's the gotch pile driver. Yeah, that's what Suzuki does for a finish. And again, it's just the juxtaposition of both of these characters is hilarious. Like Suzuki is the no nonsense. I mean, okay, he's called Murder Grandpa by the Americans for a reason. Had you been exposed to Minoru Suzuki before?
Yes, that's all I knew is that I was like, oh, this is the Murder Grandpa guy. But I don't think I've ever watched any of his matches like fully because I had just seen clips of him killing people.
Yeah, as we do.
Yeah. But yeah, I never watched a full one of his matches.
So this was the first time you also saw Suzuki.
Yes.
Cool. So I'm trying to think of like for like Ro, kind of like painting that picture for people. Who's the most serious wrestler we have here? Because I would say Will Aldick because he's pretty serious, but he's not like I'm going to destroy you type of serious. Savage King. We'll go with Savage King.
That works, yeah.
So it'll be like you versus Savage King happens here at Raw. And every single time that the Wrestling Royalty Tournament happens, you always beat Savage King. But every single other time, Savage King beats you. Yeah. So that's kind of like the painting the picture to our scale and everything. So I just think that's hilarious that Toru always finds a win. That's why I asked you how the finish went for 2012 because I hadn't seen those. And coming into the 2017 match that I watched, I thought Toru was going to win, but actually it was Suzuki that ended up winning. Now, you mentioned something earlier that I actually found fascinating, that you said Toru was the heel and Suzuki was the face. Is that how it was presented as?
I believe it was. At least that's what I took from it. Toru was definitely being heel the whole time. Suzuki, even though he's just absolutely brutal.
Yeah.
Pretty certain he was face. I'd say 99% certainty, unless there's something I wasn't knowing at the time.
That's funny because like watching the one that I did in 2017, which by the way, for everybody listening, I watched 2017 Power Struggle. So that was for the Never Openweight Championship, and both sides heel it up. Like Toru is, if you look at the story, he kind of seems like the heel, but then also Suzuki-gun gets involved in the match, and there's interferences for the side of Suzuki, and there's interferences for Toru, so it's kind of like all over the place. It very much felt sports entertainment rather than just sports in general, and I feel like between these two, that's the only way the match would have worked. Was there any interference in the 2012 one that you watched?
No, in 2012 and 2013, no interference in either of them.
Okay, gotcha. So yours were just straight up, and then Toru just caught Suzuki then. Gotcha. Okay. So what else did you pick up from Toru just watching the match? Like, what I guess do you plan on potentially like applying to yourself?
Let me consult my notes here. One thing I immediately picked up on was like Toru's body language and his walk and his gait. I don't know how to describe it because I don't want to describe it as lazy because I feel like that doesn't communicate it correctly. But it's like he just has this gait, like this, like has no care in the world type of gait, and it looks like he just barely is even putting into effort, like how he's moving, just very subtly. And I'm like, again, it communicates like so much in terms of just all of his actions. It just helps tie it all together for me. He vocalizes a lot. Toru does. And then especially when it comes to facial expressions.
Oh, man. Dude, he's sensational at that.
Yeah. Because it's like the first thing I know is just like, oh, this dude has such a punchable face. And like, I don't remember if it's like a smile, but he bites his tongue when he smiles or something like that. especially in the 2012 match where he splashed Suzuki with water, and then Suzuki was just absolutely livid from it, and he was just like laughing super hard. Versus 2013 where he did the same thing, Suzuki's unfazed, and he's just like, oh, I might have made a mistake. The facial expressions, like, I loved that as well. What's the fact? Does he dye his hair, or is his hair that natural color?
I'm pretty sure he dyes his hair because there's been different phases of Toru. There's like the blonde one, there's the black haired one. The one that I saw, he had like orange hair almost. So I'm pretty sure he dyes his hair for the occasion, depending on what's going on.
Yeah.
Which, if there's anybody out there, please leave comments below to inform us, because again, we're two people learning new art here. So if there's anybody else out there that knows more stuff, please let us know in the comments. But there was something you mentioned that I wanted to like kind of touch on, and I'm like, it's escaping me now. God, what was it? Rewind for me really quick what we were talking about.
It's like the facial expressions.
Oh, facial expressions. There we go. Okay, so the body language, right? Did you know that Toru has like a signature pose, so to speak?
No, I don't think I picked it up.
Okay, so Toru Yano sometimes does like this little shrug. Kind of like looking like silly and everything. Yeah. So that itself, that picked up so much steam, and I don't know if it happened in 2012, 2013, or how long he had been doing it. But any single picture I've seen of Toru Yano is always like that little shrug with like that little shit-eating face and everything. Yeah. And again, that's why I said yes, he's got amazing facial reactions, because that's kind of what he sells over there. And again, I think that's what makes him stand out as a whole in New Japan, because as a joke, New Japan fans call him the real ace of New Japan, because they're like, oh, he's beaten Tanahashi, he's beaten Okada, he's beaten like the main gigantically like massive names of Japan, and he's just a goofy dude. But I'm pretty sure that if we were to actually like, fight him, he would actually fight, even though he doesn't look like he could do that and stuff. Yeah. But yeah, no, seriously, like for it being the art form that it is, and us not being able to speak the language, so to speak, because we don't speak. I don't know if you speak Japanese. Buck Gator might, but I don't. There you go. That's all we need.
That's all I got.
For us not speaking the language, there's not an English option, at least for the match I watched. But that itself communicates to anybody, which is a fantastic skill to have as a whole, to be able to connect with fans, because then anybody can connect with this. Yeah. Like for me, the first New Japan show I ever watched, I really need to find an answer for this. I think it was Wrestle Kingdom 9, where Shinsuke Nakamura makes an entrance with the cards on the back and everything, and that entrance alone was incredible, because right out of the gate, just the way that he's dancing down to the ring with like the hands and everything, I'm pretty sure you've seen Nakamura in WWE. He's just a completely different monster, and he hooks me in with just that. I mean, Toru Yano did the exact same thing. Like out of the game, I was like, okay, this guy's funny. But then I found out that he's like an actual ass kicker, and I was like, oh shit, like this guy's legit. Yeah. So, again, I'm seeing the parallels a little bit, and I'm glad that you see it too, like that you're picking up on things that you kind of might want to take and stuff.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like I absolutely want to watch that 2017 match, and then I just want to see more of his matches as well. Because like you said, like New Japan's presentation, especially on entrances, it's just like, I don't know, just they have so much aura to get into like the modern language way of referring to it. But like you mentioned, like with Nakamura's, like I've always loved his entrances in WWE as well. But like you mentioned, I haven't seen a lot of his New Japan entrances, but like just looking at the entrances for like Suzuki and Toru in those matches, especially Suzuki, it's just like it comes out and there's just man, it just has a vibe to it. Like just this like, oh, this is actually like big fight feel type of thing. And it's I don't know how to break that down to like a science, in the sense of like what specific parts contribute to that feeling. Maybe it's the darkness. It's really dark. Yeah. And it puts like emphasis on the right parts. And also the transitions, like the fade transitions maybe add to it. But yeah, that's another thing where I'm just like, I'm about to start going down this New Japan rabbit hole too. But it's like, I always get kind of overwhelmed a little bit as well in terms of what should I be watching right now? What should I be looking into in terms of trying to get the most out of when I watch wrestling? Because of course, like right now, I'm trying to watch it and understand it at a deeper level. Of course, I'll still watch it for fun when there's like fun storylines to follow and whatnot. Like I've been going back and watching like my favorite era of NXT was, I want to say like 2014 to 2016, where it's like Sami Zayn, Adrian Neville, Tyson Kidd.
You're speaking my language.
Yeah. I was like, that's my favorite era. I think, and this might be a contentious point, when it started to become like Finn Balor, Hideo Taki. I believe, was it Hideo Taki?
Hideo Itami.
Itami. I knew I was off slightly by his WWE name. And then the Samoa Joe era. That I still enjoyed it a lot, but then that's where maybe it's just at the point in my life where I just started becoming nostalgic for where it was like a year or two ago, because I was like, what, 16, 17 at the time. I'm like, oh my God, 2 years ago was like a decade ago. I'm nostalgic for this now. But no, like I've been watching that era again because they put it on YouTube for free, like the NXT channel.
Best channel on YouTube.
Yeah.
Next to this one.
Yeah, and also it's like I feel like I can take a lot from those matches since they're usually like 5 minutes. Because especially if I'm trying to study for matches, YouTube always tries to recommend me the 15 to 30 minute ones, and I'm like, listen, man, I put in 5 minutes in the search bar. I know the algorithm knows what I'm looking for, but it's like I have to get so into detail just to get a 5 minute match. But it's like that, and then also like the old Superstar shows. I try to watch matches there, but especially again, like going back to New Japan, it's like I like this different presentation of it as well, and maybe that's just like something that I as a wrestling fan should have gotten into before now. But I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm definitely going down this rabbit hole as well, especially since I already paid like $10 for this month.
Oh yeah, and I hope that you keep paying the $10 a month, because honestly, when I also paid $10 for the New Japan World membership, and I messaged I think it was Walker, James Southard. He helps us here at Reality of Wrestling. Shout outs to him. And I forget who else. One of my friends named Marcus, because they're the three big New Japan guys that I know. So I was like, I hope you guys are proud of me, because I just paid for a New Japan subscription and I'm planning to keep it. And after I saw the entire catalog of matches that I have, I'm like, oh boy, I'm about to have a lot of New Japan matches, because I watched the match with Ryan and I watched the match with Promise, and they were both Japanese style matches. Now, the one that Ryan and I watched were two it was a classic Japan match of two names that I never seen before. And then the one with Promise was a Yoshi match. And I, like with you, the presentation was so much more different. And I love the fact that I don't even speak the language, and I got so much from it just from the performances alone. I can see why this is a completely different art form than it is now. Because I even remember watching, I gave Wrestle Kingdom 9 a chance because I heard that was going to be the first time that they were going to have English commentary, and everybody on Reddit was raving. I was like, oh, everybody watch Wrestle Kingdom 9. It's the greatest event of the year, blah, blah, blah. And I seen highlights. I was like, all right, let me get this a shot. And then I was awake. I was much younger, so I could actually stay awake. And I watched Nakamura. I watched Kenny Omega. I think I watched AJ Styles, or maybe he was already with WWE at that point. I think that's maybe what motivated me to watch. Is like, this is where AJ came from. The second after, because I had already watched him in TNA and stuff, and he made a much bigger name for himself in New Japan. I wanted to see what Tanahashi was about, and I ended up watching it, and I was like, holy crap, like these dudes actually beat the shit out of each other. So then I watched that match with Ryan again to study it a little bit, and his perspective made me appreciate everything that kind of happened in that match a lot more. And then talking to Promise, she told me about that Yoshi match, which again, that's one of the greatest matches considered for Yoshi. And I was like, I think I like Japanese wrestling as long as I have somebody to talk to about it, because that's also the hard part, just finding people to talk about these matches. Because and again, I feel like I'm taking a shot at the IWC, but I'm really not. It's really tough to have conversations with anybody online that you don't know. Like, anonymity is a fantastic power to some people, because they get so gutsy and everything. If you don't like what they'd like, then it's just kind of like you get torn to shreds. Like, well, you don't like this, then you're not a real wrestling fan. It's like, can you just let me enjoy my ice cream, bro?
Yeah.
So like that's why I've loved this avenue, and like I got such a bigger appreciation for the Japanese style of matches, because now I've got a lot of people to talk to about it, and then obviously record it and have just open conversations like this. So I'm pretty sure I'm gonna abuse the hell out of that New Japan membership, because now I have the entire plethora of New Japan shows to be able to watch. Especially with Wrestle Kingdom 20, I think, coming up soon with Tanahashi's last match. Obviously, I'm emotional as fuck that John Cena's retiring here in about a month or so. So Tanahashi's not going to hit as hard, but I do know how big of a factor he was to New Japan as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, New Japan World, shout out. Fantastic membership.
I love the fact that you can individually search matches and it'll come up with the individual matches. What happened to the WWE Network, I do not know, but it's money. I don't even. How is it even money at this point? Because it's like, well, they went over to Peacock, and then it's like you can never search matches on there. I don't think. I don't know. I don't have the Peacock membership.
Well, they're gone from Peacock
like
now.
ESPN, right? Like $30 a month.
Now they're on ESPN. Yeah.
I have $30 a month. I have to eat.
Ramen, brother. Ramen.
Ramen. It's like, that's just carbs, brother.
That's true. And sodium. Hella sodium.
Mm-hmm. I can just get salt if I want that.
That's true.
But yeah, it's man. I heard that if you get like a VPN and put it to like Canada or some other country, they still have a WWE Network running there, and they're still updating it. And I'm like, they're really gonna make me buy a VPN just so that I can have access to the old network. And I'm like, I'm on the verge of doing it. Okay, I just need another pay raise at my job. Okay, and then I can maybe justify it as long as my rent doesn't go up, which again it probably will. So I'll postpone this another year. But eventually, all I'm saying is that they didn't need to take away the search for individual match features.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I mean, that's what YouTube's for, right?
YouTube and New Japan.
Yeah. But the New Japan membership is fantastic. I do miss the old WWE Network. I remember there was a period, I think I want to say 2019, 2020, where like I was really low on funds. It broke my heart to have to cancel my WWE membership because I mean I used and abused the hell out of that membership. Yeah. And it was good, especially for NXT, like you mentioned, 2013, 2014. Yeah. Those were. I mean, I've said this on the podcast before. Adrian Neville and Sami Zayn at NXT R Evolution is the greatest match of all time. I think that. So, and that's my opinion. I'm sticking to it. And I wanna see if I could potentially have somebody on in the future to talk about that match where they've never seen it, and I'm the one that has actually seen it. Just kind of flip the role reversal there. But yeah, no, I'm glad that the membership. That I guess I motivated you to get the membership in a way and stuff, and now you're gonna have more material to study for yourself.
Yeah, it broke my heart. I had to cancel my Peacock membership. Okay, I was trying to watch the first 5 Nights at Freddy's again the other night in preparation for the second one, and I couldn't because Peacock just ain't. Well, I don't know what else they have on there.
They've got The Office.
Isn't that on Hulu?
No, it's on Peacock.
Okay, I think my parents are still paying for Hulu, and I might just mooch off that membership. I'm not even sure at this point.
That's how we do it.
Yeah,
and you just gotta pedal enough Dr. Gator in order to be able to get it,
I do. Okay, just wait until I come out with Bucky Charms, bro. Bucky Charms is the 2026 Buck Gator leading brand that is yet to be announced. Okay, that is a world premiere announcement.
Breaking news. Thank you.
Yeah, world premiere. Like the way they said it at the Xbox E3s. Do you remember those? Like where it was like every time like a new game they'd show a trailer at those either his E3s or the Xbox showcase, and like this guy with a deep voice would be like world premiere.
I'm pretty sure they do it now at the Video Game Awards, the ones that they do yearly in December.
Do they have the guy say it in the deep voice?
I think it's a woman now.
Oh, man, but the guy is just like, I don't know. Me and my friends made so many memes about that, just like world premiere. He's like, I think he like spliced all of the different kind of phrases that he said into one thing. So it's like world premiere exclusive. There was like 3 other phrases that he put in there as well. But man, that used to like, when something like it has no meaning whatsoever, but you give it meaning. So then every time you see it, it like pops you.
Yeah.
It got to that point.
Nice.
But yeah. I'm sorry, I got completely.
No, it's okay. We've completely derailed the conversation. This is just us chatting podcast now. But okay, let's see. I know I had questions about the match, and I know you didn't watch it, but I want to see if I can still apply any of these right here. Okay, so we talked about what you took away from the match. So would you say that after watching this match, you're interested in New Japan? I know you said you were going to watch it more, but not just for Toru Yano, but like any other talent that you may see on there.
Yeah, 100%. The one thing and the one barrier I feel like I've had recently with watching wrestling is, I guess with more like New Japan, it's like, how much of this style can I actually take and apply? Because my character, of course, in the ring isn't like a super technical or very hard hitting or anything like that. Like I can absolutely still watch these for entertainment, but especially like with the limited free time I tend to have nowadays, like when I'm watching wrestling, I'm really trying to watch and trying to take something from it. So I'm very selective about what I watch. So it's like finding things that, like with Toru, that are very that have a lot of character and stuff that I can draw from. It's what I try to prioritize. But especially again with like these different matches that I've heard that New Japan's had over the years. Like again, what year was it when is like Okada Omega? That's the first time I really heard about New Japan.
That was right before AEW started, so probably like around 5-6 years ago.
Yeah, and then before that, I think is like Nakamura and Styles. I think.
Oh,
was,
dude,
actually,
incredible!
That's probably when I first heard of New Japan.
Incredible match.
Yeah,
because then Shinsuke eats the bullet from the Bullet Club taunt. Yeah, good shit.
Yeah, but it's like I might just have to just start watching those and turning my mind off and enjoying them just for as they are. But I feel like again it'll be interesting just to see what I can take from it, because I don't want to box myself in to just watching stuff that is very character focused. Because one of the big things I had to learn, I'm still having to learn it myself. Again, I'm only like 2.5 years into wrestling. Especially when I started, one of the things Booker told me is that you got to know when to switch from funny Gator wrestler to being serious, and when to turn that switch. And he told me, like, outside of the ring doing your entrance, you can do all this over the top stuff. Then as soon as you get in the ring, you got to flip that switch. And that's been difficult for me to do a little bit as well. Because it's like, okay, how do I mesh the two, but not have it lean too far into one side or the other, get that perfect mix between there. And I feel like I've gotten a little bit better at it, but it's still something I'm trying to figure out as well. I feel like especially in some of these like harder hitting matches that I hear like New Japan has a lot of. Again, I'm excited to look into a lot of this and just like we've said already, like go down the rabbit hole on that.
Yeah, I think just to give you a bit of a praise here for the most recent breakout show that we did with Drew, I think you did a really good job of towing the line there, because you were still your goofy self and whatnot, and as soon as the match started, you went into like business mode, and then at the end of the match, after you got the win, you got your handshake, which was how the match started and everything. Did you plan that beforehand, or?
We planned the handshake at the start of the match. At the end of the match, no, that was just I was like, I'm gonna shake his hand.
Perfect. Oh, see, that's the kind of stuff that I love to hear, that like, oh no, that wasn't planned, I just did it. Because that to me tells me that your brain is just functioning in the sense of, this is what my character would do. And Booker always tells us, you got to learn how to play in the gray, right? After the match, that area is gone because the match is over, but you have such an understanding of your character. It's like, let me just do this. And that worked so well to kind of encapsulate the story that you guys were telling. Is like, oh, it's a mutual respect match, handshake, and then Drew goes for the kick and everything, which by the way, if you haven't seen this match, you probably won't, because it's on Breakout and it's just for our studying purposes. I'll see if I can ask Kevin to let us borrow it so I can maybe put a clip here or there, but it was a really good show for you, not just for the match itself, after the match that you, again, who goes for like, let me grab your hand, let me still get my handshake, stuff like that. It's something so small that just adds so much depth to your character, that shows like, yeah, I'm still funny, but this was a match for your respect, which now I'm gonna get it in my own way.
Yeah, and I think it was a very unique opportunity to do that, because Drew, that's of course first match, debut, so people don't have that preconception of, is this guy face, is this guy heel? So it makes that moment, I feel like, at least going into it and planning that out, is like, it makes it a little bit more unexpected, because a lot of times it's like, if you do that handshake spot and someone's a heel, the other guy's already a face, it's like you kind of see what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But no, that was one of my favorite matches I've had, just because not only being able to work with Drew, who's been like just grinding away ever since.
Shouts out to Drew.
Yeah, 100%. I was so excited when I saw that we'd be working on Sunday. And he did 100% super well. I had like no critiques for him whatsoever. Like everything felt really good. Nothing was forgotten or anything like that. But one of the biggest things is that while we were in there, and especially I saw a couple of the clips, because Jacob, one of our referees, he sent me some of the hard cam footage. It's like Drew was running his mouth. And I was like, yes, that is hilarious, because when I was heel, that's one thing I don't particularly miss being heel too much. but I missed parts of it, right? Like having more opportunities to just slow down and yell at the crowd and stuff like that. But the fact that Drew was doing that, I'm like, all right, this is awesome. But yeah, no, he did like super fantastic in that match. And for me, it's one of the biggest things I struggle with, and I'm getting a lot better at it, but I get like a lot of pre-match anxiety to the point where it's like, I'm in the ring, we haven't done anything yet, the bell hasn't even rung, and just because I'm so anxious, I'm already out of breath, right? And it's like, the bell's not even rung, we have like 5 to 8 minutes or however long, and I'm like, I work out on the regular, right? My day job is exercise based, pretty much. So it's like, yeah, I do cardio, I do all of that as well. So I'm like, especially my first few matches, I'm like, why am I dying and it's 30 seconds in? But fortunately, I've been able to kind of calm down a lot more before matches. And on that match specifically, it was like, I was feeling really good on cardio wise, and then like again on Drew's part, he didn't hit me with anything that felt bad or took the wind out of me or anything like that. So again, that's one of my favorite matches that I've had, and he just played his part super well. Like I think there's one part where he went for what's it called, the chop block, and I think that was the main cutoff, and he just went like right for the leg, and I was like, I think I said that before the match, I was like, okay, I just want you, like, don't worry about hurting me, just like lay all of that in. And he was laying it in, but he's doing it safely, and I'm like, every time I'm getting like my chest kicked in the corner, I'm just like, oh, this is good, he's laying it in, he's not holding back. And I still have that problem myself, is like holding back on strikes and things like that. Like I still have a little bit of fear of hurting people. But again, it's one of those things where I've only been doing breakout shows, I think for, let's see, it was since May of 24. So about 18 months or so. Not every month, of course. But yeah, it's just especially with right now, to where it's like I still have less than, I don't know how many matches I've done on the shows. It has to be generously less than 20. But I feel like just these leaps and strides that are happening every match, like there's so much I take from each match that the progress I feel is happening super fast. And Drew played a big part in that, especially on Sunday's match there.
And I think the effort is also just goes to show that, you know, it gets you opportunities, because now you can say that you're one of the breakout people that has gotten a Glory Championship match. And I'm gonna peel the curtain back here a little bit. If I'm not wrong, AJ asked to work with you for that opportunity, right?
Yes, it's because he's of course been running the character classes here, which again, it's like I'm so happy that we have that coming back now, because even when I was doing it last summer with AJ, there was like some of the students here who I didn't know them that much or know that they had, you know, a lot of character work. They would come in with, or over time they develop like a lot of these characters. Like Drew, I think, developed his Druth character in that class, and I'm like, it's like so helpful, because again, it's like if you don't know what your character is, then it's gonna be so much harder to build a connection with the crowd. And I'm not saying that I know, like, I feel like I got really lucky with this character in the sense that it connected, and I'm still not quite sure how it's connected as well as it has. But again, just the character stuff is so important. So I'm glad that not only AJ's doing that, but he's also giving these opportunities to people who are taking it seriously and having a lot of progress.
And I think it was also just cool having AJ on commentary for that show itself, which for me, it was hilarious, because me and Alex were ready to do commentary for Breakout like we always do. And he had something to focus on to kind of, you know, learn from the last time that we did commentary. And then I hear Eliana, hey, please welcome our guest commentator. And I'm like, wait, what? And all of a sudden I hear AJ. I was like, wait, hold on, back up. He's commentating, and I was so taken aback by it, not in a bad way, just like, I'm not prepped to do a 3-person booth, holy shit. And now we have him on commentary, so Alex got thrown off a lot, which is unfortunate. But I mean, I even told him, like, after the fact, like, I'm not even gonna tell you did a good or bad job, because you got thrown a curveball. So just by that, you've never done a 3-person booth. I've never explained to you how a 3-person booth works at all whatsoever. So I mean, you did fine. You were thrown to the deep end. And the way I explained it to him, you were thrown into the last time Premise Now tournament without even having one match yet. So that's literally what just happened to you, and I think you did fine. So I think that just goes to show that like AJ wants to be out there helping you guys, and putting a spotlight on those people that I guess get more opportunities, right? Because that's what the wrestling business is at the end of the day, opportunities, and you never know when the right person's gonna see you at the right time, and they're like, hey, let's grab you up for WWE or TNA or AEW or anything like that. So I'm glad that AJ is seeing that in you, and I don't think there's any, as far as I've known you, I don't think there's ever been anybody that's not like, I don't get it. Like, everybody just seems so captivated by Buck Gator, and it's an amazing sight to see for sure.
Yeah, and I'm so like eternally grateful for AJ giving me that opportunity. It's just, again, like when he first came in, it's just like, I think the first time I met him was when I think you were still doing promo classes like 2 years ago, and he just came in as a guest that one time.
Funny story about that night, really quick, before you continue with your story. That was the day after me and my now wife got together. So literally, I was like, "Hey, do you want to come to a promo class with me?" Like, I don't. She doesn't know wrestling at all. So the day before we had our first date, and I told her, I was like, "Hey, do you watch wrestling?" She's like, "No, I don't." And I'm pretty sure you've already heard my The Rock Stone Cold thing that I say about her. And so she's like, "No, but I think it'd be cool to see you in your element." It's like, cool. So like on her first time ever being around wrestling, she meets a then contracted WWE wrestler. Like, holy shit, that was top dollar. What the fuck? So that was her first experience with wrestling as a whole. So anyways, continue.
Did she already know who she is? Or sorry, who he is?
Now she does. But it's funny because like whenever he joined us after he got let go from WWE and stuff, I had to like change his name from Top Dollar to AJ Francis. So like now when I say AJ, she knows who I'm talking about. Yeah.
But yeah, no, just he's such a super cool dude, super helpful, especially when it comes to the promo class.
Incredibly underrated.
Depth. Yeah, well, 100%. Because it's like when you look like online on again, if you go on the deep dark depths of Reddit and the wrestling subreddits, it's just like they just despise AJ. And it's like, I think it's because, again, just he does his character so well, and he works in a certain way to where it's, again, he doesn't do a lot of flashy stuff, but he does that for a purpose. And just the way he's explained it, not only how he presents his character through his wrestling, but also just the way he talks, the way he coaches promos, and how to develop character. It's so good at it. So the fact that he's able to give me that opportunity, and not only to have that, but to learn from under him, and especially how he puts together matches as well. Even though it's like a 5-minute one, the way he wanted to present that, again, it was just absolutely unreal to do. So again, I'm eternally grateful for that.
Yeah, and again, for him being on commentary, I didn't know his style either, so I had to like adapt on the spot to be like, okay, like I know he's gonna be a heel commentator because that's his whole gimmick, that he's a heel. And then I was like, okay, how am I gonna drive this? Because the way that a 3-person booth was explained to me, which again, I hope that this helps you talk to other commentators too. When you're a 3-person booth, you have the play-by-play, which is the main guy driving the show. It's like, oh, welcome to the show. Here's our ad reads. Here's our show. Blah blah whatever. And then there's the color commentator, which at this point was AJ Francis, usually a former wrestler or somebody that has an idea of what happens in the ring. That way they can talk about that. And then the third person's an analyst, which was what I used to do whenever it was me, Brad, and Brittany. And so as the analyst, you give numbers. You're like, oh yeah, this happened 6 years ago, blah, blah, blah. And like, the sports side to it, right? That's actually how I got the name The Historian, because they're like, you know a lot about this. I was like, I just watch Worlds way too much. I watch every episode like 5 times. And so I had to adapt my brain to not only do that, but then again, this is a part that Alex didn't know, and I explained it to him after. My job is whenever I throw a question out there, is to have these two bicker at each other. Be like, one's a face, one's a heel, and then I'm like the one that wrangles it back in. So they just go back and forth and bicker and whatnot. So if we ever do release that audio of Breakout, and when we put the videos out for you guys to review and everything, you're probably going to hear those two shit talk a lot to each other, but they're both trying to out heel each other, and I'm like, no, stop it. But it was good because AJ was still, putting all the talent over as well, which is really good because I know that he genuinely means that he sees all these people work hard, because he is here literally almost every day working out. And he's always here with you guys working and everything, which again, for a talent like AJ Francis, he doesn't have to do that, but he wants to continue paying it back to everybody. So shouts out to AJ. We kind of this is now an AJ appreciation podcast. We're just going to continue changing topics here. So I guess back to New Japan here for just a second to put it back into that. Let me look through my questions actually, because there was like another one that I saw in here that I was like, I really want to ask you about. Okay, so the two matches that you watched, where would you put them on a scale of like 1 to 5, not knowing anything about the story prior? Like how much, I guess, from a quality standpoint?
Am I giving them star ratings?
Yeah, Meltzer star ratings,
God.
except these are Buck Gator star ratings.
Yeah. Man, the first one, I really like star ratings because I usually just rate things on the terms of I didn't enjoy it, I thought it was good, or I thought it was fantastic. So the first one, I thought it was good. The 2012 one, I should say.
Yeah,
I thought it was good, especially just the couple of character spots. The things I took from it was mainly just like watching Toru just do like the facial expressions, the character work, and especially the contrast between how I think the things I took from the 2012 match versus the 2013 one was the 2012, like Suzuki was much more just getting frustrated, whereas 2013 he's like much more calm and just taking everything on the chin and keeping his composure. So I like that part about the 2012 match. I think so I guess on the fact that I enjoyed it, you could say it's 3 stars or 3 out of 5. The one in 2014, or sorry, I get my years mixed up. Was that the Bite of 87? Sorry, I'm so excited about the Five Nights 2 movie.
we're gonna go watch it together as a road group, by the way, guys.
Yes, I'm so excited for it. I don't want to break off on another topic again, but the 2013 one, I definitely enjoyed it better. I loved the incorporation of the handcuffs, so I'd say that one would be like 4 out of 5.
Gotcha. The reason I ask, because normally that's how we wrap up every show, like, well, where would you rate it and whatnot. The one that I watched, actually, after doing more research on it, the one that I watched is actually considered a dud. Like everybody, or I should say everybody, a majority of the New Japan fans that are like New Japan fans, that's their main thing rather than WWE, hated this match just because it was very sports entertaining kind of. And there were interferences, there was just stuff that they'd seen before, and the one that I watched was actually a bull rope match. So they were tied at the wrist on a bull rope.
And man, you keep on hyping up this match. I'm gonna immediately leave here and go watch it.
I hope you do, because again, it continues the story of Suzuki and Toru Yano, and again, it's for a title. And as a matter of fact, I'll tell you about the stories. That way, you're kind of primed a little bit. So Toru Yano had just beaten Suzuki at the G1 again for like the umpteenth time. And obviously he's like, oh, you're the never open weight champion, so now I'm going to come for your championship after the G1 concluded, because Suzuki nor Yano won. So then the following show that they did, it was a tag match with Toru and somebody else, I forget who it was, against Suzuki and somebody else, I forgot who it was. But Toru, again, won in that match. And so because he won in that match, he took the never open weight championship and he paraded around with it. It's like, I'm the champ because I beat the champion, which again wasn't the case. It was a tag team match. And so then he comes into the next match with the championship, like it's his, so to speak. And Suzuki was like, I'm tired of your bullshit. Fuck you. You're annoying. So I challenge you to a bull rope match, a Texas bull rope death match. That's what it was marketed as, which there's no death match involved in here at all whatsoever. And so that's just so he's tied with at the wrist with Toru. That way he doesn't get away. Because at this point, Toru Yano had like been running around saying, oh no, this is mine, et cetera, and whatnot. And so that's kind of how it led to the match where now Suzuki was defending that championship against Toru Yano. So there's a little video at the beginning, and again, that's kind of what I picked up from it. But then after I looked into it, I was like, okay, so that is what happened. So that's how this specific match that I watched came to be. And I hope you enjoy it, because I enjoyed it. But again, I'm coming from it from a WWE brain, because that's the majority of where my brain's at. I enjoy WWE content, and that's not to say I don't enjoy AEW or New Japan or anything like that, but it's a different presentation. I know when I watch New Japan, I expect more sports, I expect more of the athletes and them just basically fighting to the end, fighting spirit and all that stuff. So overall, I kind of enjoyed it. The interferences kind of took away from it just a tiny bit, but it's because I don't know who these people are. And then I had to, again, do research to find out who these people were and everything. But I saw like one blog, I forget who it was, who was like a hardcore New Japan guy, and he said that this was an abomination of a match. And I was like, damn, like us WWE fans we're almost the same. When we don't get what we want, we're just gonna be like, nope, we're gonna hate all of this.
Yeah.
So again, I like the match personally. I would recommend it. For studying purposes, I will recommend it. As trying to get a new fan to start watching the sport, probably not. But that's because, for wrestling, I feel like you got to have like a month of time before you're like, okay, I like this.
Yeah.
Or either that or watch a Royal Rumble or watch a WrestleMania, because apparently that's how a lot of us started. So yeah.
Or you can watch John Cena's U.S. Open challenges. I have a short funny
hell
story.
yeah.
My when I grew up, my older brother and his friend absolutely hated wrestling, just because, again, brother dynamic. I hate everything you like, and vice versa.
Of course. I said that having no brothers.
Yeah. It's like 99% of the time that's going to be the case. But it is me and my brother and his friend, and I was already just watching wrestling. I don't know what specific year it was, but it was Raw when Cena was U.S. Open champion. Not U.S. Open, just U.S. champion. He's doing the Open challenges, and it was one of the ones that Cesaro answered. And I think I was like 15. My brother and his friend were like 17. They're like, we're going to sit down and watch this to show you how stupid it is. And it's like, initially right off the bat, it's like, again, they're getting started in the match. They're just like, oh, this stuff looks so stupid, all of that. Like 10 minutes in, they're locked in.
Hell yeah.
They're locked in. The false finishes are going. Like, everything's hitting, and it's like, you see that happening, and I'm like, yeah, you get it now. You get it now. Okay? Apologize. Apologize.
It's funny that you mentioned the false finishes, because Heather had issues with wrestling as a whole, because I feel like I've shared this before too. She doesn't understand like the theatrics of it. She knows why I love it, and she's okay like listening to me like talk about it, because it's literally my fucking passion. But she doesn't understand like, oh, if they kick out, the match continues, and she doesn't understand like, why don't they just stay down? Like this you can tell when they're gonna kick out, it's not the finish, etc. So it's a bit of a disconnect for her, which again is fine. It's not gonna be for everybody, and I fully understand that. But for her, it was really funny watching WrestleMania this year, because she loves the women, because she just loves how the gear and like the theatrics of it all and everything. She just loves how the women look and are presented and everything, which great. I also love the women's division in WWE. I think this is the greatest collection of women's wrestler that has ever happened in the history of professional wrestling, and I come at that from a very WWE coded standpoint, because I'm pretty sure somebody out there is going to be like, well, you didn't watch Stardom, you didn't watch the Yoshis back in the day, which fair. I will gladly watch that stuff, just so I could see that generation and whatnot. But for me, for currently right now, I think this is the greatest collection of athletes that the women's division has ever seen, ever. But anyways, so she was watching WrestleMania with me, and she was locked into the triple threat match for the Women's World Championship.
Yes.
And that was the very first time, and I was so happy, and I will never forget how I felt at this moment, that she bid on a false finish. And she was like, and I was like, you bid on that? She's like, no. And I was like, you totally bid on that. And she enjoyed the rest of the show, and that's the first time I was like, I think you're getting it. She's like, I think I am too. And I was like, yes,
Yeah.
I finally got her. And all it took was the triple threat women's championship match, because again, I still think that was one of the greatest matches so far this year.
Oh, yeah.
Probably going to be match of the year contender.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else that I would say would top it. Granted, I haven't watched a lot of WWE recently because I don't have Netflix, and now they took away my Peacock and my WWE network long ago. They will never be forgiven for that. But yeah, that one, and then the triple threat the night before.
Oh, sensational.
I enjoyed that. Like, me and my mom were watching it, and I think for like 10 minutes I was trying to explain Shield lore, but then I was like,
You can't.
no, there's too much here.
That's a whole. That's like the Harry Potter series. You're gonna have to have like 7 movies about it, because it never stops.
Yeah, it doesn't.
The fact that they've gotten like almost 10 years now out of history from one chair shot is incredible.
Dude, the Shield, they only were a staple for like a little over a year, or was it like 2 years?
I want to say like 2 years.
Yeah,
because they started at Survivor Series 2013, and by the summer of 2015 they were done.
Okay, yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, because that's when Seth Rollins won the Money in the Bank briefcase, and then he had his championship reign at 31. Because by WrestleMania 30, they were done. Like the summer after WrestleMania 30 is when they were done. So that was 2014.
Right. Yeah. So Mania 29. That's the last one as a stable, I think.
They did WrestleMania 30 against Kane and the New Age Outlaws, I think.
Oh, they did.
Or it was something like that. Because WrestleMania 30, they had their last tag match, and it was really short. Right. It was really short too, which a lot of people were like, "Why?" And now we know why. Gotcha. Because then after that, they did the Evolution matches, and that was incredible.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
But yeah,
Batista, what a classic.
That was right before Batista left for good. Oh man. Well, that was a great chat, dude. I hope that you had fun. I know we went down like so many rabbit holes because we didn't watch the same match, which is fine because, again, I came at this specific episode with a new mindset, and I'm glad that I'm able to like hear a lot of what you're thinking as you're developing your own career and everything, because again, I think just putting it out there and just maybe bouncing ideas off of one another, or maybe being exposed to new things that you haven't been exposed to, can really help your career. Especially like with me, I started this because I wanted to learn more about the history of professional wrestling, and just the last 2 months that I've been doing this, I feel like I've learned a lot, just hearing people tell me stories and just, you know, how they perceive wrestling and stuff like that. So thank you for taking the time to come on this and, you know, just having a conversation about what you've learned, I guess.
100%. Thank you.
Of course. Before we do get out of here, is there anything that you would like to plug?
Sure. So I will plug my social media, of course. You can follow me at Buck Gator on Instagram. One of the biggest things we have been doing over the past year is a series called Arcadia. So basically, and this goes back into character, I wanted to take a very silly, over-the-top character of Buck Gator and add an entire iceberg of depth. So he's working for the CIA, and he's working for the CIA because the CIA kidnapped him at the age of 7 and forced him to wrestle along with 39 other children in the bayous of Florida against alligators to the death. So there's a lot of overarching story here. The CIA is using him to track down a dangerous criminal called the Pillagers. So it's a whole detective comedy story. We're actually about to finish season 1. I think we have 2 more episodes left, and this whole thing is blown up far beyond proportion.
Hell yeah.
Because it's like over 2 hours now.
Hell yeah.
And we've broken it up into
feature film,
seasons.
Baby.
Yeah. We're breaking it up into 3 seasons because the whole story is now written out.
Nice.
Okay, there's going to be a conclusion. All the plot threads are going to come together. Just like Buck Gator backstory, detective storyline, and where is Buck Gator's missing brothers. But anyways, all of that's on Instagram and also on YouTube at Buck Gator as well. So feel free to give a follow. It is something that we're very proud of, and getting a lot of different wrestlers and people involved that were involved. Like, of course, I want to have you on there at one point.
I'm excited. I'll be the token Mexican guy whose table breaks every single time. Because, dude, okay, funny story. Did you realize that it's been 3 times now, every other Platinum show, they're like, you're doing Spanish commentary. I was like, who's going through the table?
Now that you mention it, yes.
It happened once, and now it's happened 3 times in the last 6 months, and I'm like, bro. Yeah. And I have to like pretend to speak Spanish well, which I don't, but I try. I understand it a lot better than I speak it, but I think I get by. I'm glad that the full recording is not used for the episode, because my God, I would get made fun of for my Spanish.
Yeah. So they actually have you doing Spanish commentary during the shows?
Yeah.
Do they post that at all?
They don't, but the first one we recorded, I think that was the one with the Samoan street fight at Summer of Champions, and then ever since then I've done it twice, and it's like been 5 months since, so like literally every other month. So I'm literally waiting for the opportunity for them to be like, hey, you're doing the full show, and I was like, all right, I need Duolingo, please. Yeah. So Arcadia, definitely go check it out. It's been a fun time. I shared it with friends in the UK, and they're from the feedback that I've gotten, they're enjoying it a lot. So definitely go check that out, guys. I know this was kind of a weird detour for the show, but I still hope you guys enjoyed the conversation that I had here with Buck Gator. I think next week I already have that episode recorded, and that's going to be Die Hard, because I finally watched Die Hard for the very first time.
I don't think I may have seen it like long ago, but I can't tell you anything about it.
I would say more, but I want people to tune in next week, so definitely tune in for that next week. But without further ado, thank you so much for joining me, Buck, and thank you all for listening. This has been the Miss Retrospective with Kirby Carreon, and we will see you on the next one.